Vanakkam, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Vanakkam Germany talk show. I'm your host, Balaji, and I'm beyond excited to launch this podcast where we dive into the inspiring stories, share unique perspectives, and celebrate the incredible journeys of individuals making a difference to our society. Today, we have a very special guest who truly embodies the essence of integration, dedication, and a community impact. He's an Indian who has called Germany his home for the past 20 years, and now he's stepping into a role that very few of us dare to dream about. He is running as a Bundestag candidate in the upcoming German elections. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Siddharth Mudgal, who is proving that no matter where you come from, your voice and contributions can help shape the future. Thank you, Siddharth, for joining us on our very first episode. It's an honor to have you here.
Balaji, Vanakkam and Namaskar. So, hi everyone. Balaji, thanks a lot for having me here. I hear that you're a star on YouTube, and when we discussed that we should, spread the message of how the Indian community is prospering in Germany, and as you said, everyone has a voice in Germany. I could not, be more excited about it.
Thank you, Siddharth. Freedom of speech is the most important thing. Everyone needs to speak out. So let's start with your story. Tell us about your journey from India to Germany and your early days as a student working at a restaurant to support your education. What were the key lessons you learned during the time?
I think first and foremost, I come from a background where my mother was a teacher in a school, my father an army officer. We had been traveling all over during our life, and I was not a super, bright student at that point of time, but I always had certain dreams, and one of the dreams was to go and explore other countries. Now, coming from the background I came from, it was not possible for my family to send me to the US or to the UK where everyone else goes. And at that point of time, Germany played a very important role because education, as you know, in Germany is free of cost or almost free of cost, right? So that
Mhm.
was something, combined with the quality of education which Germany offers, inspired me to, just apply for a role here. And I started doing my master's degree in economics at the Humboldt University of Germany,
Which part of Germany was this university?
Berlin.
Berlin. Okay.
It's one of the most prestigious universities for economics, and that's what I studied there in my master's degree.
Okay, that's great then. Being in an economics background, you can know more about the German economics, what's happening now, how they are kind of stumbling upon the current situations then. Okay, now let's go in the other direction. Can you share some key moments from your journey that shaped your decision to enter the politics and specifically the Bundestag elections for 2025? Because you have been studying economics in the university, because it's like a novel background in India, politics is not so easy case.
Yeah. I think a couple of things which differentiate India from Germany in terms of politics. First of all, it's considered to be very normal to be active in a political party here, as long as you're working in a political party, a democratic political party, right? So I joined the CSU, the Christian Social Union, simply because a friend of mine asked me, "Hey, are you interested in joining the CSU?" And I attended some of their meetings, and I thought the content is very important. So I've been with the CSU for the last 15 years. I was a district party vice president, and then finally I became a district party president in 2015. And since then, every 2 years, I've been winning the party internal elections to be the district party president. Now, I think the democracy of Germany is at a critical stage right now with parties such as the AfD gaining a lot of vote share. And everyone who's interested in democracy should be active in one way or the other, either by voting during the elections for a democratic party, and it does not matter which party, or being, active in politics like I decided to be. Now, look, I have a great job. I'm financially successful. But for me, what is most important is that the country needs people like myself. We need technocrats, people who bring a right skill set. It could be in economics, it could be in medicine, it could be in engineering. And that combination is something which we need. We need politicians who are not politicians.
Great, great. As you already pointed out, you have been working in some leadership roles at companies like HelloFresh, SAP, and BMW. How has your professional experience prepared you to address the challenges faced in Germany today? Because the professional
Purely
life
from
is something different and the private life is different, and also for the society which you're going to contribute your time.
Yeah. Look, I think when you're working in a senior role, what you learn to do is to take decisions. You learn to take risks for the betterment of your team, for the betterment of the company. And this is something which is, very much specific to a leadership role in a corporate company. And I think what is very important is you take data-driven decisions. So you know that the chances of your decision being wrong are minimized. And that's something which I bring along as a professional leader. Now, I work in the area of restructuring, and restructuring is a competence which countries like Germany need right now. Our unemployment rate is at 6%. Our GDP is shrinking right now. And as you know, many companies are even closing down, and workforce is being laid off. So we now need to take decisions as leaders, as political leaders, but also as business leaders, to make sure that the economic growth of the country is, once again restarted and the economy is revitalized.
I get your point. I get your point. Also, maybe I need to start some little basics for our community people. Being the first Indian origin person running for the Bundestag through the CSU party, why CSU is the right party for the expats, Indian diaspora, and Asian communities, and what motivated for you to join specifically CSU and not the other parties? Because our channel is open for every party, but I want to have the viewpoint from you for the Indian community over here.
So I think the CSU and the CDU, as you know, are sister parties, CDU in rest of the state, CSU in the state of Bavaria. For me, what is very important is democratic values in a political party. The second thing which is very important for me is a strong sense of, being helpful to the people around you. And as you might know, I studied 12 years in a Catholic and Jesuit school in India. I'm very well connected to the values which Christianity also, propagates. And those are values which are common across all regions. Help your neighbors. And the CSU and CDU have constantly helped people who have been in need. So this is one important point. And third point, which for me as an economics graduate and a business person is important, is the focus on local jobs, the focus on economic growth, the focus on energy independence. And if you go through the manifesto of the political party, you'll see that these are factors which are being covered very, very well by the CSU and CDU. And there are some top-notch professionals who have come into leadership roles. And that kind of inspired me to take on the role of, to join the CSU when I see, for example, people who have super strong qualified backgrounds and they have something to really contribute. And then they move into politics and then they contribute there. This is something, which I think is great. And one of the persons who really inspired me was Angela Merkel. I had the opportunity to meet her once or twice when she was still chancellor. And she's a very inspiring person, right? So also that helped.
Exactly. Obviously, me living in Germany for the past 15 years, I didn't get an opportunity to enter the politics or meet some kind of high officials, but I'm glad to get in touch with you. Maybe soon you may also become a chancellor at one point of time. But anyway.
Balaji, I'll send you the membership form of our party.
Okay, but I think so. This is not going to be the campaign now, right? For me as well. Okay, sure. You're welcome to send this invitation. I will send it to all the community members. Let it be open who would like to choose the right party for themselves.
Absolutely.
Good. I also happen to see your agenda. For what particular purpose you're entering into politics, to want to be the member of the Bundestag, and so on. Your election campaign focuses mainly on three key pillars. One is revitalizing the economy. Second is digitalization. And third is migration policies. Let's break each and everything, how this would be helpful for the whole community, not just for the Indian community, because you're going to represent the whole Germany here. So let's talk how this would help. First point, as you already know that the German GDP is shrinking every year, and also the unemployment rates are increasing due to multiple factors, which everyone knows who are living in Germany. What immediate actions would you propose to address these issues once you become the Bundestag?
So I think some of the most important points for me are how do we revitalize the small and mid-sized sector? So as you know, the German economy has all these big companies, Audi, BMW, Siemens, and all those companies. But at the same time, a mass of population is working in the small and mid-sized companies. So what I propose is that we introduce some sort of a bonus for the small and mid-sized companies if they're investing 10% of their profit or 15% of their profit into innovation, digitalization, and green technologies. Now, this will really help the reinvestment if we are subsidizing it from the tax perspective. This will expedite investments into digitalization, into green technologies on one side, and on the other side, it will also really help that more jobs are created. The second thing which I'm proposing is that the bureaucracy needs to be streamlined. Germany has become a nightmare for companies who want to operate and actually start businesses. So we need a one-stop shop, a digital online platform with which bureaucracy, or let's say application times for different approvals, are reduced by 50% or something like that. And this should happen in the next 2 to 3 years. Now, you might say this is not immediate. Well, this is the amount of time which you need to run such a digital project over a lot of states. Now, one or two more important points is global trade partnerships. Now, if you look at let's say the overall socio-economical political situation in the world, we have challenges coming from the US. US is focusing on themselves with Trump becoming the president soon. We have China, which is dumping, goods into the economy. And then we have countries like India who have been reliable partners of Germany. Now, what has also changed over the period of time is that earlier, Indian companies would come here and ask for investments in Germany. Now, this has not changed, but now Germany is also approaching Indian companies to invest in Germany. So what I'm proposing is that I'm proposing that we strengthen our partnerships with certain countries where we have had reliable relationships in the past and attract up to 10 billion of foreign investments every year, 10 billion euros. Why? Because we also need jobs. And what is very important is if there are companies who are inshoring jobs again, so traditionally the trend has been jobs are offshored. If the companies are inshoring the jobs again, getting them back into Germany, specifically, for example, in the area of production, or manufacturing, then this is something which needs to be subsidized and should support us also with reducing the unemployment.
Okay, you told 3 important points. One is for creating subsidies, reinvestment, and also getting some foreign investments in Germany so that we can create more jobs on the top. And the last important thing is bureaucracy. I think so with bureaucracy, I can really vouch for it, which every person who's living in Germany needs to be streamlined. I mean, a simple bureaucracy stuff over here, because I also have a business over here, but not a high-tech business like Audi or BMW, but a small company. Still, getting all the stuffs done at one point of place is not at all possible. Running behind every single office to make it quicker, this is still a nightmare, as you pointed out. I hope this could be a first important thing where every person would be happy when they live in Germany. And second thing is about them. And as I said, you will be trying to bring some extra foreign investments here in Germany so that the unemployment rates would be reduced over there. Because we also need to focus. The idea of creating localized industry developments incentive is fascinating from your point, because where we create more subsidies, this can also bring unemployment over there. But is this something that you will be focused only on a certain region or almost for the whole Germany over here?
So I think this has to be, I cannot say that it will be region A or B. This should be structurally analyzed. And if you look at, for example, the eastern part of Germany, we see that there's something which we call Landflucht. So basically people exiting from those regions where there are low, let's say, less amount of jobs, less industry, etc. And that is a segment which we should be, capitalizing on. If everyone moves to Munich, if everyone moves to Berlin, then the infrastructure in those cities and states are also failing, right? Because we suddenly have an influx of population, and you yourself know, living in an industrial city, how this can end up in.
Exactly. Already people from the north part of Germany says that you are a Bavarian, not a part of the Germany. Yeah, but it's anyway the funny part, which some people still think Bavaria is a separate country, not part of Germany. Nevertheless, good that you're not considering only Bavaria, but the whole Germany over here. Absolutely. Okay, then let's come to the next part with the digitalization. And this is also another critical area. Germany has been lagged in technical adoption. How do you plan to position Germany as a global tech leader? Because you're coming from the economics background and also a technical technocrat over here. How would you say that the digitalization can make the life more simple from your point?
Being very honest, Germany needs to learn from other countries. I'll give you 2 great examples. One of the examples is the country of Estonia, where you can have almost everything done digitally. So from your registration in the foreigners office, or registration in the city council, all these activities, setting up of businesses, they are completely digital. Now, it's a super small country. They are super progressive, and this is something which we can learn from them. Let's also take the example of digital payments in India. If you go to a store here, you even have issues paying with a credit card here in Germany. Now, some of the stores have improved this, but if you go to the smaller mom and pop stores, you can't do that. And this is somewhere where you can learn from India how digital payments are done with Paytm, etc. Even at the smallest stores, or the rickshaw puller, he'll pull out his scanner and he'll say, "Hey, pay me digitally," and this will really help to expedite the flow of money in the economy. Now, this is one example where I think Germany should be learning from other countries. The other important thing is paperless governance. So right now, if you run a company, I also have a small company. If you want to file a document with the tax authorities, you're filing numbers of 20 sheets of paper, sometimes even physically. And this is not the right approach on how public administration should be working. And this has not been improved in the last 20 years, right? And this is something which we should be working on. I think, however, one key point of my campaign is we need to establish national technology hubs, and we need to put enough amount of money so that these can develop. I heard long time back a statistic that the amount of money invested by Germany in digitalization is less than the amount of money invested by one or two top universities like Harvard in the US in their own digitalization. So just to give a relation. And I think some of the hubs should be working on artificial intelligence. They should be working on green technologies, which I mentioned earlier, but also areas like robotics. And we should invest 2 billion euros. Maybe that's the right amount, but there should be sufficient funding to bring Germany to a leadership position again, which it has been in the past, not in digitalization, but in innovation and in manufacturing.
But in the last year, I could see from the amount what the German government is spending on different sectors, on health sector, job sectors, and so on. Still, Germany is already in a very big debt hole over there. It's something like a black hole where there is no much money. They used to borrow the money from the other countries over here, right? From the World Bank and other case.
Look, borrowing money in general for any economy is a rather standard process. So you have your exports, you have your imports, and then there might be a deficit between that. So you might need to borrow money, and once again, it holds true for any country. But one thing which has not worked pretty well with this government is they have always wanted to spend more money than they have. And in fact, as you might know, and this is in favor of my party, the current government, which had a no confidence motion and they lost it, Chancellor Scholz fired the finance minister Lindner. And the reason for firing him was that Lindner stuck to something which we constitutionally have in our constitution. It is a so-called Schuldenbremse. It means we are not allowed to take loans above a certain level in order to finance the household or the economy. And Lindner from the FDP, the Liberal Party, they are very focused on economic affairs. He stuck to it, and Chancellor Scholz basically said, well, not with me. Now, it's we can discuss if it's the right or the wrong decision, but we do need to make sure that we, same as we should not be spending more money than we earn in our household, right, at home. The same applies also here. Why should I spend more money? Of course, there are certain circumstances where you should do it, but that's an important point which we should be working on.
Exactly. I was pointing about the Schuldenbremse only, because when we take over a certain limit, it's something that I can still take money from all the countries and make my country more rich. But that's not the right approach. They have to plan such a way that the money, whatever they collect, needs to be reinvested. As you said, pointed a few minutes before, reinvest it in the right way so that every person gets benefit out of it. Okay.
May I just point out one more point, Balaji, because you talked about investment. I think one important point which our party is also proposing is that the pension system of Germany needs a reformation. So as you might know, if you are earning in the higher bracket, there's a so-called Rentenlücke, which means a gap between how much you contributed to the, let's say, to the pension, and at the end, how much you'll be getting out of it. And then with this gap, there might be a loss of quality of life when you're older. And old age poverty is also a big issue. So what we are proposing is that there should be a next pillar of pension, which is based on stock market. There's a higher risk there. There could be, but also higher returns. And we are proposing that the government invests a certain amount of money specifically for children till the age of 18 every month, specifically into those, let's say, contribution systems.
This sounds similar to the one what Mr. Christian Lindner was proposing as well, like Action Rente, which he's going to bring into it. I hope this is something similar to the same concept what you guys are talking about, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, for the people who doesn't know how the pension system works, you can also watch out our videos in Vanakkam, Germany, where we explain whatever Mr. Siddharth was explaining now with more detailed examples. Now, quickly, let's jump into the third pillar of your agenda, the migration. The migration policies are always a sensitive topic. How do you plan to balance the need for the skilled migration with integration and also the social harmony over here?
First and foremost, there should be no compromise on the security of any country. So if migration is happening, which potentially is just a logical step because our demographics do not look too good, population is not increasing at the rate we should be, then we should be focusing on safety and security of the people living here, irrespective of, which country they are from. That's the first and foremost pillar on which any migration should be built. Second important thing is migration enriches the culture of a society. And while it enriches the culture of the society, the long-term sustainable way is to have jobs for the people who are living here already. So you should not be always, importing talent. You should also have local talent. And with the local talent, I mean not only the Germans living here, I mean each and every person who's living here, including, for example, husbands or wives or partners or kids of the Indian community or other communities who migrated here. So once again, short-term, mid-term solution is migration. Long-term solution is building your own talent in any country, and at the same time trying to cover the deficit which you will always have in certain skilled areas by getting the right talent from outside. So what I'm proposing is building local talents. By this I mean the so-called Ausbildung system, so the training system of Germany for certain professions is taking too long. So we should, cut short the duration there so that the talent, for example, does not need 4 years to go through the training, but maybe just 1.5 years. It should be very practical, result-oriented. That's one important thing. Then we will need talent from outside, including in the IT industry, but more and more in other industries, in different kind of startups, medicine field, automotive. There, we should fast track the skilled visa processing. As you know, Balaji, we have a big issue there. The German government, at least in India, they have put in some good steps, but it still takes many, many months, specifically if you're trying to get a work permit done, or you're trying to get your spouse or partner from another country to Germany. Now, this is something, if someone has a job contract in the hand, we should have a guaranteed visa issuance for entry within 6 weeks. So from the issuance of the visa, job contract, the person applies, and then in 6 weeks, we should be up and running. Because our system, for example, in the healthcare industry, we really need a lot of people from outside. And this is something which we should push for. The third thing which I'm pushing for is the changing in the so-called opportunity card or the Chancenkarte, which was introduced this year. Now, I specifically support the opportunity card which has been introduced this year. What is the opportunity card? It gives you an opportunity to search for a job while being in Germany if you have funds on your account, one thing. On the other hand, what they have also changed, the lawmakers, is if you have parents in India, you can actually bring them as your dependents to Germany. And in context of the Indian culture, you would appreciate it. This is a very important point. If we are living in Germany, we would like our parents to also, live in Germany with us. Now, what's important, however, is first of all, we need the right amount of funds for it. So we should be able to pay for their medical insurance, food, boarding, lodging. That's one side of it. And the second important thing is when this law was passed, it was passed saying this applies to everyone who came to Germany starting 1st March 2024 on the blue card. Now, what about people who came on the 1st February 2024? Or Balaji, someone like yourself who came 15 years ago, or someone like me who came 21 years ago? My parents don't want to migrate to Germany, just to make it clear. But if they would like to do it, this law, the way it has been passed, it is discriminatory against the people. And by the way, it is also discriminatory against the Germans themselves, Germans like myself, citizens. Why? Because for everyone who does not have the status of 1st March 2024 blue card holder, we need to prove an extreme hardship in order to get our family members here. What is an extreme hardship? If I cannot put my parents, or if I can put my parents in an old age home in India, this is not extreme hardship. So I really need to prove that there is no way that they can sustain individually in Germany, in India. And only then I might apply for a residence permit or visa for them and they might enter Germany. So I need to prove extreme hardship, but anyone who came from 1st March of 2024 on a blue card does not need to prove this. They just need to prove that they have sufficient funds in their bank accounts. So as you see, there's another law in Germany called the AGG, which is Allgemein Gleichbehandlungsgesetz, which means equality law or something like this. This law, what's happening? So the law was passed. It's a great law to enable certain things, but it has not taken into consideration the requirements, the needs of people who are either German citizens and have been living here all their lives, or people who came before 1st March 2024, or people who do not hold a blue card, right? So they're also, for example, nurses. Nurses will typically not hold a blue card, but they might also want to get their parents in. So why are you putting it only for the highly qualified people? Of course, I understand the logic. We want to, attract people into the system, talent, and we understand that there's an issue. So this is something which needs to be reformed as well.
Exactly. I mean, glad that you spoke on this topic, because you and me, who came very long back, specifically for the people who came on 1st February 2024, also lost a chance equal to us, actually. I mean, I hope when you people come into the party, when your party comes into the chancellor position, then I hope so these reforms will happen over there. And migration is a good thing you're supporting on this topic. And last important thing is integration, because when I come for getting a job here and I'm settled well enough, when my family dependents joining me later, they also have to integrate into the society smoothly without any kind of big hassles. What kind of proposals do you have for the integration purpose?
Look, let me be extremely clear. The Indian community specifically is highly integrated in the German society. You will not see them in any involved in crimes. You will see that sooner or later people learn the language. And I believe here there's not too much of reform needed, simply because there is an ample opportunity for people to learn the language, learn the culture if they want to learn it. I think what might still help is some sort of a concrete integration plan, some sort of a commitment which every person signs when they enter the country, which kind of puts them in a soft obligation of learning the language and passing certain exams in a certain duration of time. I speak German, you speak German, but what about the families who are living here, husbands and wives and partners and kids, right? And I think if we want them to contribute strongly to the country and feel at home, it's important that they learn the language pretty fast, right? And that could be a certain area, language, culture, where we could introduce certain plans, which kind of softly ask for a soft commitment from them to cover the language and the culture in a certain amount of time. Once again, from the offer perspective, language schools offering training, there's so-called integration course. If you go to the Labor Department, Labor Office, they'll give you certain documents with which you can learn German language more or less for free, right?
Yes.
Learn about the German culture more or less for free. So from the offer perspective, I think there's a lot being offered. Now, how can we motivate people to, get into the mode of utilizing the offers which are available? That I think is something important.
Perfect, Siddharth. Exactly. You're right with your points and statements over there. So as you already described yourself as a technocrat and reformer, I hope with your experiences, you can deliver practical and results-driven solutions over there for the whole community over there. The last point from my side, running for this office is no small feat. How can people support your campaign and join the movement for a prosperous and innovative Germany over there? Is there any kind that we can support you for your upcoming elections?
Look, I think there are three ways in which support can be offered to me. First of all, engagement. So if you want to join my campaign, support me, please write to me at my email address, which we'll share later on. Write to me, and I'll be very happy to help you understand the political system more, and also be part of my campaigning team. As you know, the campaign ends on 23rd of February. That's the day of the elections. So that's one way you can support. The second way to support is if you are living in the state of Bavaria, and if you're a German citizen, vote for the CSU, because indirectly by voting for the CSU, you're voting for me. If you're not living in Germany, in Bavaria, then you can actually vote for the CDU, which is our sister party, and we have a common minimum program with them on which we agree. So you'll be supporting development of Germany and having a lot of technocrats. And third but last, but not the least, is any election campaign requires a lot of money. And I have started a GoFundMe campaign to support me, and we will blend in the details about this in this podcast as well, or in this YouTube interview. Please do support. Do not think that any amount of money is small. Any amount of money which you donate to the campaign will support my campaign. Just for you to know, donations to political parties in Germany are tax deductible. So depending on the amount you donate, 30 to 50% of that money, you can even, for 30 to 40% of the money, you can get it back from your taxes. And this can be done by anyone living in Germany, irrespective of citizenship. So those are three helps which will really help me.
That's good, Siddharth. And thank you, Siddharth, for sharing your incredible journey and your vision. It's inspiring to see your passion for making a difference. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to share with our listeners as a final point?
Germany is a great country to be in. It rewards hard work. It rewards perseverance. It rewards, technocracy. And Germany might seem to be a cold country at the beginning, not in terms of temperature, but in terms of culture. But once you're part of this society, part of the, let's say, mindset, I think you can learn a lot. So for all people who are new in Germany, I can only recommend work hard, look out for opportunities, take the risk, and you'll succeed. And look at people like Balaji here who run Vanakkam Germany as a channel. This is exactly the type of education and motivation we need to give to people so that they understand what's going on around us in this country. Be part of the change.
Perfect. Thank you, Siddharth. So, hello viewers. I just want to say that this campaign is not just about Siddharth, it's about the future of Germany. Together, we can build a more inclusive, innovative, and prosperous nation. And thank you for your support for watching this video. And also, thank you so much, Siddharth, and best of luck with your campaign. To all listeners, if you're inspired by Siddharth's story and vision, be sure to support this movement. You can check out the description links for all the links which Siddharth has mentioned over here. And take care and stay inspired. Bye-bye.
Thanks, and take care, Balaji.